The state of a country and its economy plays a significant impact on the level of entrepreneurship in any country. Entrepreneurship will promote Nigeria's economic development, even though there are a lot of barriers limiting entrepreneurship in Nigeria. In 2009, reports showed that small and medium-sized enterprises in the industrial sector contributed about 37% of the gross domestic product, GDP, for that year. It was the second largest contributor after the oil sector. So entrepreneurship development has got a lot to offer and improve the economy of Nigeria. We also discovered that most people don't know how to manage and grow a business properly. They don't seem to learn or have the resources to learn how to manage and grow a business. A lot of new business owners and young entrepreneurs are looking to make money quickly. They are more money oriented and not entrepreneurship oriented. Today, our focus is on entrepreneurship development. You're watching Imperial Forum, and I am Imelda Essien. On our show today, we have Olori Omo Oba Olusoga Sofolahan Atibioke. He has B.Sc, M.Sc in Economics, MBA, PhD in view. He is a fellow, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, ISMN, fellow Chartered Institute of Economists, ICEN. So he's here to talk on entrepreneurship development. It's good to have you on our show today, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right. The result shows that there is willingness on the part of individuals to venture into entrepreneurial activities, and an insignificant minority of entrepreneurs is motivated by necessity. Also, the prevalence of business discontinuity is attributed to non-profitability of business ventures. How can men and women be encouraged to venture into entrepreneurial activities, which is the new trend of business?
GDP is looking at the finite output of goods and services within the country. And if you're looking at what made up the GDP, we have what we call the individual consumption, individual output, household output, firm output, and even the government output. So from that GDP thing, we now want to have an historical background of what entrepreneurship is. And if you're looking at our old production possibility those days, when in our elementary school when we were doing economics, they will say output is a function of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And we know that the reward for that land is rent, that of labor is wages, and that of capital is interest. What about the entrepreneur in it? We say it is making. So that now takes us to the definition of who an entrepreneur is.
Okay.
An entrepreneur that is creating a business afresh. Not that he's looking at somebody that, oh, this is what this guy has done before, let me try and imitate him. He's going to create that afresh. He's taking the risk. He or she is taking the risk because I'm not looking at men alone, men and women. Though at the end of the day, the reward of it is profit making. But having said that, we have a lot of challenges that have not allowed entrepreneurship to grow very well in Nigeria, and I'll mention some as a way of encouraging the business to flow in Nigeria. One, the environment that we find ourselves today is not really conducive for any small and medium-scale business to come up. We have insurgency in some parts of Nigeria. We have banditry around. So people that are trying to think, they are trying to, the environment is not conducive enough for that. Again, in trying to encourage men and women into entrepreneurship, we talk about providing funds, whether in terms of loans or grant to them. There should be a process that supports that entrepreneurship. Like what we are doing currently, we need to encourage seminars too.
Yes.
Like what we recommend for this, so that people will be talking about entrepreneurship, and that will be driving the interest of citizenry into trying to innovate into something.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing justice to that question. Now, let's look at the ratio of female to male entrepreneurs in developing countries is above
Mhm.
average, with one woman to every three men involved in some form of entrepreneurial activities. How can gender mainstreaming be integrated? Okay.
So if looking at how we can, the gender mainstreaming be integrated, there should be a robust policy from the government on gender mainstreaming and gender equality. And after
Yeah.
doing, the government should not just make the policy and then now go to bed.
Mm.
We should be seen as doing what we call walking the talk. If you have put something in the policy to say, this is what we should be aligned the women in the society to be doing, let us see the government doing it by example. And I must commend the current administration, though. Sincerely, we have a lot of women in the cabinet of President Muhammadu Buhari, and they are not just warming seats. They are key shakers of economy, like the finance minister. She's a woman, and some other people that are coming out to give them that enabling environment to work. And thirdly, I must say this like a plea. It is high time we abolished the idea of let the women take the back seat. Since
Yes.
Nigeria today, we have a lot of women that they are pride to us in Nigeria.
Mm.
Example, Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Okoje-Iweala.
Mm.
Ngozi Okoje can stand with any man, stand tall, worldwide, brain for brain. If
Mm.
the parents had not allowed Ngozi to have that opportunity, that wouldn't have been possible. Again, look at Mrs. Ibukun Awosika.
Mm.
She's a man to one of the biggest banks in, not only in Africa, in the world. She's a lady. So what am I driving at in the sense that, Folorunso Alakija, Pastor Mrs. Folorunso Alakija. So not until when we give the women that environment and allow them to do it. We should not just be doing the talking. Yes, we have put on a policy, but after putting up a policy, what next? So we need to encourage that gender balance for real and not just by mouth. Thank you.
That's very wonderful because a lot of women don't believe in themselves. So they feel that they should always take the back seat. And it's good
Yeah.
that you're bringing this up and you're also addressing this issue so that everyone can hear this and be encouraged to do well when it comes to entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship development. So let's look at government policy is the most important issue facing entrepreneurship. So employment regulation also is one of the key problems. And then we look at tax structure and the lack of supportive environment for new business that are identified as main impediments to entrepreneurial activities. So our analysis shows that entrepreneurial education at school stage and post-school stage are insufficient across developing countries. What will be your recommendation to this?
Okay, thank you so much. We're talking about the adequacy of education. That cannot be overemphasized, especially within the developing countries. You could excuse the developed world that, yes, they could just need some few education, but at this current stage of us in Africa, education is very key.
Sure.
However, if you try to educate people, I mentioned earlier in this conversation that there should be that enabling environment. The environment should not be hostile. So looking at improving education, security is the bedrock that we need to improve for so that people can be focused on what they are doing. And again, too, our curriculum and curricula at the secondary and university should be reviewed to tie towards building entrepreneurship skills. And even after doing that, after having the curriculum, let us have real challenges of the world. Like some people will say, you only learn theories in the university, but when you get to the business environment, it's another thing. And that's the
Sure.
difference between in the development country and in the developing country and advanced country. An average school in the US will teach the children what is going on the street. But we in Nigeria, we teach the children theories in the school. And by the time they get to the environment, they will be lost. So while we are training the theory, while we are teaching the theories, we need to be benchmarking it with what is going on with the society. Create opportunity for students to participate in social discourse. Bring them out, let them come and talk, come and speak on what they know about things that is making up entrepreneurship. So that by the time they come out to now be somebody to stand alone, they will have that full knowledge that they will now be disseminating to others. Even God said it in the Bible that you should not despise your days of little beginning. So start from somewhere. It is that little thing that you have started that God will multiply. God doesn't multiply zero. 0 times 0 is 0.
So it means that hard work pays. That's what you're trying to say now.
Yes, hard work pays. That's right.
Okay, so would you recommend that developing the skills and capabilities required to start a business should be integrated into specific educational and vocational training programs? Because we know that many people do have programs related to this kind, but developing the skills and the capability is very important.
Okay, that's right. Thank you so much. When you talk about skills, skills is looking at measuring the competency of somebody to achieve a particular task. And in trying to develop entrepreneurship skill, we have some set of skills that we need to develop while we are growing up. And I'm going to mention but few. Strategic thinking is one of it.
Okay.
If you say an entrepreneur or somebody that innovates, before you could do innovation, that means you are very vast in strategic thinking to know what is next, to actually see that, oh, what can I do to make this come together? And let me give you an example of somebody, Aliko Dangote. Wow. Aliko Dangote, with 1,000 naira that he said his uncle gave to him. The uncle only 1,000 naira, he didn't give him what to do with the 1,000. But today, Aliko is the richest man in Africa. So that means he has tried to use that 1,000 naira with the skills that he has, maybe inherent or the ones that he learned further to grow his business. Another thing is problem-solving skills. Definitely, there is no straight curve. You're going to meet some challenges on the way. Your ability to resolve those challenges, those are part of the skills that you are going to have. Time management, effectiveness and efficiency, and a lot of people confuse effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness is service delivery level. Efficiency is cost minimization. So as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to drive your service delivery to people and to minimize your costs. And communication is key too. Network is great so that people will know what you are doing and they will be able to expand it for you in no time. Branding and marketing, they are key too. So those are type of skills that we need to develop when we are looking at developing our entrepreneurship skill.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. At this point, I want us to take a brief break and then we'll come back to continue. So if you're just joining us, we are discussing on entrepreneurship development and we have as our guest, Olori Omo Oba Olusoga, Sofolahan, Atibioke. He is an economist. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back. Let's go to our next question for the day. So let's look at this. Most people don't plan properly before they start their business. They don't make research about business. The market for the business, the cost of production, these are examples. Many do not even have a business plan. So after they start a business, they get stuck and the business fails. Also, a lot of people start off the wrong path and eventually the business ends up failing or folding up. what kind of message will you pass across to this set of individuals?
If you fail to plan, that person is planning to fail.
Yeah.
And looking at that planning is just an aspect in management. It's part of the chain. And management is looking at how I can plan this process. And part of planning is budgeting too. So it's good for you to draw your plan. It's another thing for you to now set your budget around it. If you don't have enough money, you could pen that project. If you have enough money that could take care of that project, you could start the execution. And after doing the planning, budgeting, there is this need for us to have competent people that can coordinate it for you. Other word, organize it for you so that it will achieve the required results. Lastly, the controlling part of it. If you don't have control of your process, that process is ready to fall. And that is why in any industry, good industry, you have the audit team that is looking at what you have done. Not just that you do it, but they want to see that you are doing it in accordance to the laid down rules. So planning is very key to the successes of any business. And if you're having plans, you need to have strategic plans too. And like I told you, I'm a strategist. There's a difference between business plan. Business plan is just to put a structure, provide a structure together in order to attain a particular goal. But strategic plans are plans that you're providing to focus on main action plan. That by the time you do 1, 2, 3 of this strategic plan, you attain your goal faster than expected.
Okay, let's go to the next question we have. Most people then try to turn to banks and other financial institutions to secure loans to fund their idea or business. But getting a loan is very difficult and most times impossible for average Nigerians who are looking for funds to start up a business or who already have a small business. The reason for this is that banks and financial institutions feel it is a huge risk lending money to them. How can they be encouraged?
Okay, that's fine. Again, banks are out to maximize their profit and not necessarily the total welfare of the citizens. So they are looking at their profit in anything. And yes, they have plowed their income, their funds into banking operations, and they wanted money back. But having said this, we have opportunities that peer-to-peers can lend themselves money because the money we are looking at here for you to kick off a small-scale business may not be really, really much. Let me use this money. Once I get it, I finish using it, I'll turn it over. Like the Suzu that our parents are doing those days. So that is the beginning of cooperative society. So this modern day cooperative society that we have right now.
Okay.
And if cooperative society, I am sure what a cooperative society will charge you in interest will be lower than what the bank will charge because cooperative society is looking at the welfare of their members. At the end of the day, if they are making profit, yeah, they will thank God. But if they don't make profit, once members are satisfied, they are satisfied. And there is one key one that openly, I must give it to the Igbo guys. No, for real, I must give it to them. And sincerely, these people are terribly hardworking. And let me tell you what they do. If they put any of their siblings to come and learn a particular trade with them, maybe they have a particular understanding to say, okay, you work for me for 5 years. By the time you are going, I will settle you. Let me of that. I will settle you, meaning I will give you money that you don't even need to go to the bank to collect and be struggling to pay the interest on that loan. Am I understood? And they keep their words. If you can be doing that, there will be an increase in the number of entrepreneurs that we have in the country. And the more we have more entrepreneurs, the more the pressure is taken away from the government because government of the country, they are not to be providing jobs to us. They are just to be the enabling environment to us that these job providers will be able to function.
Thank you, sir. So what are the prospects of entrepreneurship in Nigeria?
You see, sincerely, I must say that the government is trying, but the focus has always been around the middle class people. Sincerely, there may not be middle class people in Nigeria again. Maybe you just have the rich and the poor. But I just came up with something. You see, government came up with Bank of Industry. The goal is to be able to give loans to people that want to establish a small industry, cottage industry that they can turn into big business on their own. They established Bank of Agriculture, same purpose. But this People's Bank, they are forgotten to do it. And sincerely, instead of sharing 10,000 to market women, when we were close to election and people misinterpreted it for saying a particular party is bribing people against future coming election, you can establish a People's Bank, reintroduce People's Bank, and you can now peg what you can loan to them. Maybe max 200,000 naira to somebody that you know is serious. We are looking at his feasibility very well, and you give 200,000. If you give 200,000 naira to 20 million Nigerians after the 200 million, that is 4 trillion naira. You understand? If you deflate 4 trillion naira into current exchange rate, that could be yet another, maybe let's say $10 billion. But sincerely, if you could give money to 20 million Nigeria to start business, you are creating a paradigm shift.
Finally, how did COVID-19 pandemic affected entrepreneurial activities in developing countries?
Okay, that's a good question, and we need to look at it in two ways, both in disadvantage way and again, the advantage of it. If you're looking at disadvantage, because of COVID-19, there was global recession and economics of different countries were down. And sincerely, when I started this conversation, I said our GDP for 2019 was $446.5 billion. Since by the time we are through with the end of this year and we are reporting in 2021, we are not going to attain 446 billion. It is going to be lower than that because of the pandemic. And our major product that we sell in Nigeria, because nobody was going anywhere. So the demand for Nigeria crude or OPEC crude or any crude, the demand fell. And we saw countries that are even paying to all these people that purchase this product from them to take this item from them because we had oil glut, because they can't take it back. So, and they don't have a storage to put it. So they're asking that, take this from me. Within the first time in 50 years, the price of oil went to negative. So those are disadvantages of COVID, and that led to unemployment. There is this trade-off effect that when there is inflation, there will be reduction in unemployment, though that is in the short run. But in the long run, inflation will be growing, unemployment will be growing. But in this instance, because organizations were not making money, they laid off a lot of people. So it caused unemployment. But on the other way, at the positive side, this COVID allowed us to, stay at home. All this extra spending that we do, we were not able to do it. So we plowed our money into more savings. And because something, the cycle of poverty and cycle of richness, if you have good savings, it will affect your investment. If you have good investment, it will affect your productivity. If you have good productivity, it will affect your growth. Your growth over time, 5-10 years, will lead to economic development. So, meaning staying at home has allowed us to build more savings that is going to lead to economic growth in future. And again, lastly, it created independence on us. If there was no COVID, a lot of countries will still be importing things that they can produce within. You will recall the last time the president locked the border, said, don't bring
Yes.
into Nigeria.
Mm.
And that was the exact time that our agricultural industry here in Nigeria picked up, because they knew quite well that we didn't have any alternative again, and we must stand well on our feet. So COVID created both negative and positive impact, but we need to look at the positive so that we can move forward in life.
Thank you very much, sir. I've been talking with Olori Omo Oba Olusoga Sofolahan Atibioke. He is an economist, and he's been talking about entrepreneurship development. And you've said so much already with us today, and I'm going to end this session by saying this quote: if you don't have big dreams and goals, you will end up working for someone that does. Whenever I am into a difficult roadblock with my business, it reminds me of how important it is to have a growth mindset as an entrepreneur. A growth mindset means you don't view mistakes as failures, but instead as learning opportunities. Starting a business venture is a demanding process that is full of challenges. You will never get everything right the first time. The key is to adapt and evolve over time. Mistakes can expand your knowledge and help you become a more resilient person and business owner. I am Imelda ICEN. Thank you, sir, for everything you've said so far on entrepreneurship development. It was nice having you on our show today.
Thank you so much, man.